From the great radio controversy that is Tesla with Hang Tough, and you got to hang tough.
Surprised you didn't go with the California summer song. That's equally as good, isn't it?
Now it sounds like you're on your. No, that's just me. That was my monitors.
Oh, I was gonna say, what the hell?
It sounded like you were on your camera mic, but no, it was just my monitors.
Oops. No, dude. Why didn't you go with one of the new tracks from Shock?
That CD, in my opinion, it doesn't even exist for me.
Did you even keep it?
I have the MP3s, but it's in their folder, but I don't listen to it.
Yeah, it's garbage. I don't listen to it either. I tried, after the first initial shock of listening to it, I waited a week or two and then tried to give it one more try, thinking, all right, maybe I was just being judgmental.
Yeah, being judgmental prick.
Right. And then I just listened back to it again. I was like, ugh, what a bag of shit.
It's just not Tesla.
My hope is that they'll go back to the studio quickly and do something, even an EP, something to cleanse the palate, because that record, I can't imagine that it's doing well at all. Because it's universally hated. I haven't seen anybody that's been like, oh, man, what a great album.
Yeah, it's kind of come and gone. I mean, in the first week of release, that's the only time I saw any press on it. After that, I haven't seen or heard anything more about it.
Yeah, it did. It came, it went.
And that's a shame, because Tesla doesn't put out a record very often. I mean, it's 5 and 6 years between. And
right.
then you wait that long, and it's all right. I still like Tesla. They're still a viable band. And then you hear this, and you go, "What? This is what I waited for?"
Yeah, it's not good. And us killing it didn't help us any, because I'm still convinced that's why we got our interview scrubbed. I mean, we had an interview scheduled, and then it was canceled at the last minute.
Well,
and
that's okay. I'd rather be honest and have a interview canceled than go, greatest thing you guys ever done.
Oh yeah, we wouldn't do that.
How did you come up with such a great record? What was it like working with Phil Collin?
Yeah, no, we wouldn't do that. Look at Chad Anthony trying to put me in a corner here. Don't you think Ghost is catchy? Although Chris likes pop, trying to corner me into saying, "Oh, Ghost is good. Ghost stinks." I'm not a fan. I don't like the guy's vocal. I like the one song is okay. That Rats song. I don't know if you even know that song.
I don't listen to Ghost.
It's okay, but overall they're just, I don't know, just stupid band. To me, they're too much like Kiss. Not sounding wise, but it's all image and not much substance, and not my thing. Not at all.
Well, can you say they suck because you don't like them?
Well, they suck as far as what I would listen to. But I'll put them next to some other bands that a lot of people like, and I don't listen to. I don't listen to The Who. I know a lot of people think The Who's the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, they've only been around for 50 fucking years.
Well, and that's 50 years. I've been around 50 years too, and I don't think I still don't own a Who record.
Here's the thing that amazes me about The Who or Paul McCartney or Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
These bands were in existence the same year that I was born.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Huh.
That these guys were around performing, recording music, even having hits on the radio the year that I was born, and they're still playing arenas.
Do you like any of that stuff or not really?
I'm not like a diehard fan. When I used to listen to commercial radio a decade ago, I wouldn't turn the channel. I mean, I know the songs, but am I a fan or a collector, or do I own any of the records? No, I don't.
Anything other than the Beatles that came out in the 60s, I just don't kind of like. It's a weird thing. I like the doo-wop 60s stuff. I like the Temptations, Four Tops, Four Seasons, Smokey. I like that stuff. The
Motown stuff.
Motown sound.
Yeah.
I like the Motown stuff. But any of the rock bands, that were like 60s, whether it's The Who or Rolling Stones or Doors, any of that, That is just fucking cancer to me.
Well, that was the psychedelic, drug-infused rock of that day, you know.
Like, even, like, did you like... Okay. Zeppelin came out in 68.
Yeah.
That's the Zeppelin I like, but their career wasn't in the 60s.
Their career was through the 70s. I mean, basically, their career was, you know, from 68 to 80. So basically, they dominated the decade of the 70s.
Yeah, and that's good. I love Led Zeppelin, obviously, but you know, any of that, you know, Paul Revere and the Raiders and shit like that. No, none of that stuff works for me. It just, I just never.
You didn't like the bubblegum poppy music.
Well, I mean, was the Who considered that?
No, but like Paul Revere and the Raiders, or like, did you like maybe like a Tommy James and the Shondells? Did you like any of that?
What was their hit?
There was Crystal Blue Persuasion, Hanky Panky, Dragging the Line.
Dragging the line, dragging the line.
Yeah.
I like that song. Give me a little. Can you give me a little of that?
Some
I like
Dragging the Line.
Yeah. I like that song. Something.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's the song.
We're dragging the line.
I mean, that was typically or officially, I guess, a Tommy James solo song, but they still, you know, listed it under Tommy James and the Shondells.
Is that the 60s or the 70s?
That would be the early 70s.
Okay, I was gonna say, because I like 70s rock, like and shit like that. I love that stuff, but I don't know. The 60s was, I don't know, just not my thing.
Yeah.
Most.
All right, here you go.
All right.
71.
All right.
Making a living the old hard way, taking and giving my day by day. I did snow and rain and the bright sunshine. Dragging the line, dragging the line. My dog Sam eats purple flowers. Ain't got much, but what we got towers. We dig snow and rain and the bright sunshine. Dragging the line, dragging the line, dragging the line, dragging the line. I feel fine. I'm talking about peace of mind.
I like it.
Yeah. I own some Tommy James stuff.
It's good. I like that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever asked about In the Gata Davida, not for me.
Yeah. Iron Butterfly. Yeah. No thanks.
Not for me. Iron Butterfly, I like a few songs. That would not be one of them. And I guess that would not be three of them because it's so fucking long. But, you know, I don't dig that at all.
Nope.
You know, but I'm that guy. Okay, here's the question. Starship, Jefferson Starship, or Jefferson Airplane? Or do you think of them as one?
No, they definitely were different. Boy, you know, they all had their own thing, but I would probably say out of the three, I would probably relate more to Jefferson Starship.
Okay, with what, Jane and No Way? Is that Jane, No Way Out?
Yeah.
What was the one that Jefferson Airplane had? Like
The White Rabbit.
After that, it was a pop song. I'm trying to think of what it was called.
Jefferson.
Count on me. Is that Airplane or Starship?
Let's see here. Starship or Jefferson Starship.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jefferson Starship.
Yeah, it's Jefferson Starship. Count on me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Somebody to Love. That's a good one. Is that Airplane or Starship?
I think that's Airplane.
Yeah. I think Airplane and Starship or Jefferson Starship were kind of, sort of together, maybe. But plain old Starship, when they got rid of Grace Slick, or she was there but not like the main person, and it was Mickey Thomas. Ugh. Sarah.
Well, Mickey Thomas joined with Grace Slick to right at the end of like Jefferson Starship, and then they became Starship.
We built
because I think Cantner was no longer involved, so he took the Jefferson part with him.
Oh, nice. Can you give me a little of Count on Me?
Jefferson Starship, Count on Me?
Yeah. Give me a little of that. That's one of my faves.
All right. Let's see here. Count on Me?
Yeah. Is that Jefferson Starship?
That would be Jefferson Starship.
Okay.
All right, here you go.
Precious love, I'll give to you. Blue as the sky, deep in the eyes of a love so true. Beautiful face, you make me feel light on the stairs, lost in the air of a love so real. Count on me.
That's a good fucking song.
Yeah, very 70s.
That is a good fucking song, man. Oh, I wish I would have been in my teen years then, when they had all the free love shit going on, and
Well, that would have been the late 60s.
in early 70s when, wasn't that with the war and shit?
Well, it was mostly late 60s. That was the Woodstock era
All right.
with the whole free love and all that shit.
I would have loved to have been around in that era and this era, just doing mushrooms and getting my dick sucked and fucking.
Well, you're talking 60s here.
I would have loved that, but I don't love the 60s music, I guess. Couldn't you do that with this music?
Well, you could, but that wasn't what was going on at that time. You're talking pre-Woodstock.
Am I messing up my timeline here?
Yeah. Because in the 70s, things were kind of straightening out a little bit, and it was more about war protest and, during the Nixon administration.
Right.
So you weren't talking about the flower power and all that shit that was going on, during the Johnson administration.
All right. That was like the rebound from Kennedy's. Kennedy
more or less, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Killed these two, so now you guys can fuck each other for a while.
Well, what the biggest revolution there was the introduction of the birth control pill. That's what changed everything.
Now, were you old enough to remember that era?
No, I was born in 63, actually, technically 63, but I was born at the very end of 63. So I was just,
At 5 or whatever, 4 or 5.
Yeah, by the end of the 60s, I was only 6 years old.
You weren't getting free ass at that point?
No.
Acid? No?
No. No.
Yeah.
But I will tell a story.
All right.
A personal story, and even to this day, I still don't know what it means.
Okay.
Even to this day, this is something that's lived with me ever since I was a child.
Right.
So this was 60, I'm going to say it was either 68 or 69.
Okay.
And this was during that era, during that whole hippie, long-haired hippie era. This was during the rise of the Hells Angels. And, just the psychedelic music and all that. And I was walking out to the mailbox to get the mail, so I might have been 5 or 6 years old.
Okay.
And I walk out to get the mail, and I'm getting the mail, and I remember this like it happened yesterday.
Okay.
This red convertible comes driving up the road.
Right.
And there's 4 long-haired, hippie-looking guys, beards, mustaches, the whole thing.
Okay.
And one guy yells at me, and I don't even know what this means to this day. And if anybody knows, please let me know, because this is a 50-year-old story.
Okay.
The guy yells at me, and he goes, "Hey, you little pee-whack."
Pee-whack?
A pee-whack.
Let's see what that is. Pee-whack in the Urban Dictionary.
Yeah.
When you give a bitch a smack to the face with your erect penis after she rejects to swallow your jizz.
Well, that's pretty, if you just use the term pee-whack, you just think that. But that's what the guy yelled at me. "Hey, you little pee-whack."
Here's some uses. I killed her with a pee-whack. That bitch got what was coming to her, a pee-whack. That's the only 2 uses.
Okay.
So there you go. Apparently these guys wanted to hit you in the
Well, I'm not thinking that was the meaning then.
Think it morphed?
Yeah, I think so.
You don't think that was just short for pudwhacker?
Yeah, no, I'm thinking that it's like you little pud, or you little dick, or something like that. You little pee-whack.
I think it's short for pudwhacker.
Yeah, something like that. But it was just like, what the fuck? I was just like, holy shit.
That's one of the greatest words that went away. Pud.
Pud.
Dude, when I was in high school, that was the word. Pud. Used to call everybody a pud or a pudwhacker because we weren't allowed to say dick.
Yeah.
So we'd be in gym or something playing kickball or dodgeball or whatever, and somebody put you out, you'd be like, "Ah, you pudwhacker." Pud.
Well, when I was in high school, one of the things that the guys were doing is that they were morphing the words of certain things to say something to you, but they weren't exactly pronouncing it correctly.
Sure.
So it became a whole second language. So
Okay.
like if you said to somebody in classroom to suck a dick, it would be shweek-a-deek.
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 Oh my god.
But there was a whole bunch of words like that it was like a whole alternative language.
And would people, I know you would do it when you were goofing, but would people do it when they were like mad? Like if somebody's going to fight or something, like, "Why don't you shweek my deek?"
No, it was just sort of like saying that to somebody across the room, like, "Oh, shweek-a-deek."
Right?
Instead of saying suck a dick, which you could get in trouble for. But if you said that, it's like, what the fuck did he say?
Shweek-a-deek.
that was one of them. But there was a whole bunch of them.
Was it like leak my beals or something?
Well, there was another one, like Donkey Kong came out, the video game.
Right.
And like if you said, those little fire foxes that would chase little Mario.
Yeah.
And if you let one catch you and burn you, you'd lose your guy. So instead of saying it cooked his ass, it would say it coke his os.
Cooked his os.
Yeah.
We were so stupid as kids.
I know, but it was funny because everybody knew what you were saying.
Yeah, exactly. It's just so bad, dude. When we were in high, did you ever do this one? We used to just like with friends, and it was with friends, which made it all the more worse. You would go up on somebody if they're carrying a bunch of books or some shit, and you would punch them as hard as you could in the back, and
right.
yell, "Good job!" and just fucking watch them fling their books all over the place.
But you know what the thing is if you did that today, it would be bullying, and it would be you'd
be arrested.
Yeah, you could be arrested or expelled or whatever, and that was just how kids reacted or did interacted with each other.
Well, back then, if you did something like, I remember distinctly our principal in middle school was a guy named Mr. Latoma.
Okay.
And anytime we got into a fist fight and we got caught by the teachers with a fight, which was a lot, we used to, I mean, you'll understand this. The listeners will just have to kind of paint this picture in their head. But you know where the middle school was there in Streetsboro. It's like right down the hill from the high school a little bit, like across the street, sort of. Well, there was that middle school, and then there was a tree line, and this is going back toward the exit. There was the middle school, then there was a tree line, and then there was like a big field that was right there next to it. Well, that was always the fighting place. Was you used to say, "Meet me at 3:00 on the field."
Right, of course.
And that was the the field right past the tree line, or meet me at lunch at the field. That's what we used to say. And we would go out to the field and we would fight, and it would just be throwing punches or whatever. And you know how those fights lasted. They lasted about 3 to 10 seconds at most.
Exactly.
There's about 10 minutes of fuck you, no fuck you, no fuck you, no fuck you. There was about 10 minutes of that. And then somebody would throw a push, and then there'd be like 2 or 3 punches, and then it would get broken up. It was always such a fucking pathetic thing.
Yeah.
But anytime you got caught, because the teachers obviously would hear that it was happening or whatever.
It's going down, man.
They would bring us in. First of all, they would drag us in by our ear. That was the move. They would grab us by our ear and drag us back into the principal's office.
Abuse.
Yeah, and what Mr. Latoma used to do is he would make us stand like at the front, like the school was shaped like an L, and the front doors were like the middle of the L, so to speak. And the gym where people had lunch was in one side, and there was classrooms down one side, and then there was other classrooms down the other side. Well, he would make us stand like at the middle of the L where everybody had to pass you, to going back and forth to class. If we got in a fist fight, he would make us stand and hold hands, at the L. And it was basically, he was making us stand there so that the other kids would be like, look at those faggots. That's what he used to do and sometimes he would make us hold up signs that said, "I love Terry," or whoever it was that you were fighting or whatever.
Right.
He literally, it was complete fag bashing is what it was at the time. It was like, I'd have to hold up a sign that said, "I love Terry." And then this kid Terry that I fought would have to wear up a sign that said, I love Chris. And we'd have to hold hands or else we'd get suspended.
Right.
And we would have to do that for the rest of the day. Like we would sit in the office. It was almost like in-school suspension type of thing.
Yeah.
But we would sit in the office, and then when it got time to change classes, we had to go out with our signs on and hold hands. It was so fucking dumb, but it was, it worked. It worked on a lot of levels.
It's the shame of it, and it's the public ridicule of it, and it's just like, I don't want to be made fun of in the public square.
Yeah, and it worked for a lot of people. Me, not so much, but I always thought it was funny, so I was like, whatever, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the scene in Hangover where the guys get arrested for the police car, and they go, "Don't end up here, kids. This is what we call Loserville."
And that was it. Was if you ended up there, you were the loser for the day.
Yeah, of course.
You got picked on. And I think I've told this story before, but the teachers were just meaner back then. They were allowed to be meaner. I mean, I don't know about you, but it was nothing to get smacked in the back of the head or something, or pushed or whatever by a teacher.
Well, the thing in our school was getting the whacks.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Paddling.
Yeah. You get taken out in the hall and given a whack.
Yeah. Our thing was our teachers all had their paddles painted and had names on them. Mm-hmm. They all had the crippler or whatever.
Yeah.
Drilled holes in the shit and stuff. And it was, you did not want to get swats.
Nope.
You did not want to get swats.
Yeah. We didn't call them swats. We called them whacks.
We called them swats. Dude, I got paddled my senior year of high school. I got hit. Our principal was a guy named Mr. Garrick, and I was throwing food at this retarded girl because sucked a dick. I hate to admit the truth of it, but there was one of them girls that were like retarded.
Okay.
And I was throwing French fries at her, and I got caught throwing French fries at her. I was just being a bully, basically. And Mr. Garrick, I was taken to his office, and he gave me a choice of a paddling or 3 days out of school suspension.
Wow. Take the whack.
I took the paddling. Well, unfortunately for me, they had to call home to get permission to do the paddling.
We're gonna beat your son's ass. Is it okay?
Yeah, and that was about the worst part. And this is how far times have changed. Fucking Mr. Garrick told my mom what I was doing and asked if he could give me 2 swats, and she said, "Give him 3 or 4.
Yeah,
shouldn't be doing that. Give him more." And he did. This fucking guy, he was a big dude, and I mean, I swear he broke my fucking tailbone because I could not. I mean, it was literally like you see in a movie where I was like edging my ass into a chair. I was like, ooh, into the chair for about a week.
Right.
Because he fucking tattooed me. Oh, it was definitely brutal, but as it should have been. I was throwing food at a retarded kid.
Yeah, kick his ass, Seabass.
I should have got my ass kicked. But I honestly think that's the part that's missing.
Well,
these
of course
days,
it is. People accountability, whether it's a SWAT or paying for your retribution, whatever it is. That's the whole thing that's missing is accountability.
Yeah. I don't imagine that you got in trouble a lot as a kid.
No, my dad was more or less just like, if I got in trouble, I knew I was going to have to deal, I was going to have to face my dad.
Right, sure.
And it wasn't because my dad was a mean guy, because he's not, but he was very stern and he meant what he said. If he said something, you knew he meant it. It wasn't, let me test the waters. Let me see if he means what he says. No, you knew my dad meant what he said.
Well, in the times, however many there were, that you got in trouble, where you did something, whatever it would have been, didn't do your homework or whatever it was, did you think when you got a punishment, whether it was grounded to your room or not allowed to ride your bike or whatever it would have been, did you think you earned it, or did you sit around thinking, this is bullshit, I shouldn't have got this?
No, I pretty much knew that I fucked up.
Yeah. See, that was how I was in trouble all the fucking time. Always. I was a big shock, I know. But, I don't... I mean, there were a couple times that I legitimately didn't do anything and got in trouble. And unfortunately, when you're in trouble all the fucking time, sometimes you really don't do something and you get in trouble because you're just there. Trouble follows you more or less. You get blamed. But for the very most part, even when I've been arrested, the many times that I've fucking found myself in a jail cell, I don't think I ever was like, this is bullshit, man. Every time it was always like, yeah, all right, well, this is what I did.
Yeah.
I don't think the generation after us got that. They're always looking for a reason that they shouldn't have to pay the piper.
Right.
Where our era was taught, I taught my kids, and I remember distinctly telling them this over and over and over. I told them over and over, I was like, you guys want to get in a fight in school, you want to do something, that's fine. You do it, but you better own the consequences to it. There's consequences to what you do, and you make your decisions that way. You decide, is it worth it? Is it not worth it?
Right.
I've told the story before on the show about going down the street and kicking the guy's dog and then kicking the guy's ass. That fucking sicked his dog on my kids, and Georgetta. And, when I went down there, I fully expected to get arrested. I knew I was getting arrested. I literally came back up to my house and sat in my front yard on a chair in my front yard and waited for the police to come and arrest me. I wasn't going to try and hide and say I didn't do it or whatever. I was like, fuck, I did it. whatever, arrest me, charge me, do whatever you're going to do. You know, it was in my head, whatever they were going to do, whatever fine or weekend in jail or whatever I was going to have to pay for, you know, beating this guy's ass, it was worth it. Yeah, I mean, honestly, dude, I mean, that's always been my mantra is, you know, it's why, I don't know if you remember this or not, but some of my friends definitely do. For the longest period of time, I drove around it with a signed check in my car, so that if I was ever to get arrested or get put in jail for something, a fight or drunk driving or whatever it was, whoever I was with could grab the check and bail me out of jail. You know, I rolled like that for fucking probably. I only stopped doing that recently.
Well,
like,
that was never necessary for me. I would have never thought to have to do something like that, because it's just like, that's never going to happen.
You've never been arrested.
Well, true, but the thing is that I didn't have the mentality that I was going to go out and break the law to where I was going to get dragged in for something.
I don't know that it was that mentality. It was just more knowing myself.
Well, there you go. But it is the mentality. It's just like, I'm going to do something that's kind of going to get me in trouble.
It wasn't purposeful. It was more knowing that I'm not going to take any shit off of anybody. That was always my attitude, was if I go to the bar, and I'm not saying this is a right attitude. By no means am I saying this is right. But for years and years and years, and you've seen me this way just in the years you've known me, there was definitely a time when if somebody bumped me the wrong way, if somebody got in my face, if somebody, whatever, I was going to say something to them. There was never a time I was going to be like, oh, okay, excuse you. It's like, hey, what's your fucking problem? That was always me forever.
Well, there's guys that just like to mix it up regardless.
And I definitely used to be one of them. Mm-hmm. Not so much anymore. I don't know. Honestly, I got my ass beat so bad, and it wasn't a fight. It was just a whooping. When I first got single, it was probably 2013, I think it was. Me, John, and Stephanie went to see Seven Dust in Lima or Toledo or somewhere. I think it was Toledo. And we go to Seven Dust. And for whatever reason, I thought I was still 33 years old or whatever. And I got in the fucking mosh pit and started fucking moshing like I used to in the old days. Just fucking throwing elbows and, hitting people and whatever. And I got hit so fucking hard. And I got taken down to the floor. And somebody fucking just stomped on my fucking leg while I was down on the floor. And I got up and I was like, holy mother of fuck, I think I broke my leg. I mean, it hurt so bad. And I'll have to look and see if I can't find the pictures of it, because I know it's on Facebook. I put pictures of it on Facebook. My leg was completely black. The whole from the knee to the ankle was completely black, like it was broken.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't. But after that moment, I was like, you know what? I think I'm too old for this now.
Yeah.
I just can't do this anymore, man. I'm not physically capable to do this anymore.
Right.
And I had to stop, and I haven't been back in a mosh pit since. I don't want to get hit in the face anymore either. Fucking, I always say it. When you get in a fight, the only thing you ever got to worry about is the first fucking punch.
Right.
Because the first one's the only one you really feel, and then the rest of it is just fucking adrenaline.
Yeah.
So, but you lose a fight in the first punch, because if that first punch is in your nose, it's a physical reaction to come up to your face with your hands. So if somebody hits you in the nose, you jerk back and your hands come up to your face. Once your hands come up to your face, anybody that knows how to fight at all will fucking do a haymaker to your fucking ribs.
Right.
And you're done, because now you can't fucking breathe, or you can't breathe through your nose, and you can't breathe through your whichever rib they just fucking broke. So you're done. That's how you lose fights, is by coming up to your face. So the rule of thumb was always that you fucking, one, you throw the first punch. You don't, when they're talking all their shit, you just hit. You don't even fucking answer. You just hey, motherfucker, boom, and you hit them.
Yeah, it's the element of surprise.
You do that, and you come in with your head down so that if that first punch is aimed at your nose, it hits you in the top of your head.
Right.
Your top of your head may bleed, but it doesn't hurt very much. And then after that, it's all adrenaline anyway, and it usually ends up just being a stupid-ass wrestling match or whatever. So, not that I'm an expert. I mean, I'm an expert at fighting, and I'm an expert at getting my ass kicked. I would say if there was a scorecard, I would say I'm probably about 500. I won a bunch of fights. I lost a bunch of fights. But I never backed down from any. I never was that guy. I was never one to run.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Well, you sound like you could have very well been, the subject of the song from Bad Company from their Holy Water release, Boys Cry Tough. Do you remember that song at all?
I don't know the lyrics to it, no. How's it go?
Well, here, let's play it here.
Give me a little bit of it.
All right, hang on. Let's play some of this.
Trouble. Everybody likes to fight sometimes. Headed south on 41, straight for the action. Meeting the boys at the county line. He kicks it into overdrive, really puts that pedal down. Feels so good to be alive. He's had enough of being pushed around. Bobby and the boys walk in. The heads start turning. They don't like no strangers in this place. No, no. Everybody's acting tough, and words get spoken, and someone pulls a knife in Bobby's face. No, he turns away, but it's too late. He's gotta face some on his own. Left him there to meet his fate. Bobby's never going home. Boys fight tough. Yeah, boys fight tough. Life gets rough when you're living on a fine line.
Know that one?
I don't know that one. I'm going to have to...
That's Chris.
Yeah, but crying tough.
Crying tough, going out there looking for trouble.
Yeah.
Some guys like to just fight sometimes.
And I did. I'm not going to lie. I liked fighting, especially Korea and Arizona. I liked mixing it up.
Yeah. Well, Brian Howe was singing about you.
Yeah, apparently so. Might have been singing about himself, too, because he looks like he took a couple of...
Yeah, he looks pretty rough.
He looks old.
He does.
He's definitely... Now, talk about an old-looking guy. Forget Tim James's wife. Jesus Christ. Brian Howe looks like he's 110 years old.
He does. Probably one of the best shows that I ever saw with Brian Howe on lead vocal for Bad Company.
Right.
They played at the Rhodes Arena with Leonard Skinner. It was Bad Company and Leonard Skinner.
Okay.
And wow, what a great show for both bands.
No kidding.
Yeah, it was real good.
Yeah. I like those Howe records. Boy, he didn't get his career didn't do well with those though, did it?
They were popular because they were still in that MTV era where they had videos.
Yeah.
But he wasn't Paul Rogers.
No, and no carrying life is what I'm trying to say. Is those records came and went.
Yeah, they did not have sustainability.
Right, and I mean he had some big songs. I mean, Holy Water was a big song.
Oh, the record was a big seller. I mean, that was a huge record for them.
And it just didn't translate very well, you know, to the, you know, you still hear Bad Company songs, but none of his.
Yeah, well, again, they you know, set the mold with Paul Rodgers in the 70s.
Yeah. It's good music, though.
It is. I agree. I still love that Holy Water release. The whole album is you know, good to listen to.
Right.
I mean, I had that release, and I remember this to the day. This album was out the same time that the first Giant record came out.
Right.
I think it was The Last of the Runaways.
Okay.
And some guy that I knew, we were into trading CDs and stuff at the time, and he wanted me to trade my Holy Water for Giant Last of the Runaways. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Like, no way, pal.
Yeah, no, I kept that. I still have it. Too funny.
It is fun.
Just the memories of, you know, CDs and records, you know, trading and buying them and stuff.
What's the best trade you ever made for a CD? One that you still have?
What the thing is, I got to be honest with you. I never, if I bought a CD, because I didn't have a lot of money at the time, so CDs were actually fairly expensive for that time. They were about $12 a piece.
Right.
So if you were willing to pony up $12 for a CD, it was one that you really wanted. I wasn't like Chris Aiken, who went to Kmart and just stole a bunch of shit, and it didn't mean anything to me. If I bought a CD, it was one that I really wanted.
Right.
So I don't think that I ever traded any, to be honest with you. I've had people ask, "Hey, can I trade you for this or that?" And I don't think I ever did, because if I owned it, it was something that I wanted.
See, I still remember my best trade ever, and it seemed like a shitty trade at the time, but it lived with me. Was I traded 9 Inch Nails, Pretty Hate Machine.
Okay.
And I think the other one was the big one, but I think the other one was the whatchamacallit, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, the one with Under the Bridge on it.
Okay.
Something Sex Magic.
Yeah.
That's
Blood, Sex, and Magic.
Yeah, and I was a big fan of those two records at the time. But I traded it for a little band that nobody knew of, but I had seen play, called Pantera with Cowboys from Hell.
There you go.
And I still have the original Cowboys from Hell that I traded from my friend Scott. You know, he was like, you got to give me 2. I was like, oh, come on, man, just 1. And he was like, no, 2. And I was like, come on, dude, you don't even know who this fucking band is. He's like, I don't care. I got it. And he had got it at like, I don't know, like for like $5 or something. He didn't even pay like regular money for it. He had just paid like, you know, discount rate because nobody knew who the fucking band was. And yeah, so, but I traded for Pantera, Cowboys from Hell, and I still have it. Still in my collection.
And there it is.
Oh, the Bad Company, Holy Water. Nice.
Still have it.
Yeah.
I bought that in 1989, I believe.
Yeah, but did you ever go into those stores and actually trade CDs? None?
I would trade them for store credit, but not, you know, and the ones that I got, and I'll tell you where I got them from. I didn't pay for them.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law actually worked for the Camelot Music Corporate.
Okay.
And so he got a lot of promo stuff.
Right.
And he would always give me all kinds of shit, stuff whether I liked it or not. He would just give it to me because he had it. And okay. I would just pick through it, and I would keep what I wanted, and then I would trade in the rest.
Right. Okay. So you were never, you just, like I used to live, dude, my CD collection, especially when I was poor, was, you know, was constantly manipulated through trades. I was constantly taking, especially when I was in California and I was going to that place, Metal Mania. It was nothing at all for me to take like 4 or 5 CDs and take them in there just to get whatever was the new thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, all right, here, take this old LA Guns and take this old Faster Pussycat record and give me the new whatever it would be, whatever was out at the time.
Right.
The new Warrant record or whatever. And I was constantly shuffling. That's why I like of the big records from the 80s, I have them all on MP3, but I don't have a lot of them. I'll bet I don't have 500 total CDs of actual store-bought CDs, from that era. I don't. I mean, I have MP3s like nobody's business, but actual CDs, maybe 500.
Yeah.
Because I traded a bunch of them away, and, I came home one afternoon to find a bunch of them smashed up in a pile here in the office. That was fun.
Yeah, I remember when that happened.
That was fun.